Welcome to SVG-TV News for Tuesday, February 1st, 2022. I am Rochelle Baptiste with the details. Former Liat workers in St. Vincent and the Grenadines supported their regional colleagues in rejecting a payment offer by the Antiguan government in December last year. Today, President of the SVG Liat Workers Union, Jeremy Howard, told SVG-TV News that the offer could not have been accepted, noting that while it was okay for those in Antigua, it was not okay for others across the region.
The government of Antigua made an offer, which was 50% of the severance paid by way of bonds, lands in Antigua, and a percentage in cash. It was rejected because it was not appropriate for staff, in particular outside of Antigua, because even if the government was to give you the land, the legal process to get it done, the cost of the legal process, in some cases could be more than land. So the staff out of Antigua was not interested in that.
It has been more than 2 years since the regional airline went into liquidation and employees sent home with the promise of severance and other payouts. Howard said an offer of bonds was another proposal on the table, which they also rejected.
And the bonds again, we were not interested in that because that was like a 5-year bond, and staff really and truly wanted whatever rather the cash. But so right now that's a stalemate. The unions have rejected it, so we're back to square one. In regards to locally, so we still weren't able to secure a meeting with the Prime Minister. He never really got back to us since we made the last request for the meeting. That would have been in 2020, yeah, 2020. So we haven't heard from him, and we just basically left in the open air to fend for ourselves.
Meantime, Howard expressed disappointment with Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, whom he said until now has not met with the union or workers.
We should be paid, but I mean, even more importantly, we're kind of perplexed as to why we can't even at least have an audience with the Prime Minister. I mean, as I said, he was the chairman of the shareholder government. As a matter of fact, in terms of the shares allocation, we're not even certain if it has been formalized, because I remember, you remember, we transferred our shares, we should have, I should say, transferred our shares to Antigua, and so should have Barbados as well. But up to this time, we haven't heard anything officially, like if that has been formalized. So in other words, we're still uncertain as to really who are the true owners of the company up to this day. And that is why it's for those reasons that, we think we should have at least had a dialogue. But as I say, so far that has not been forthcoming from the Prime Minister.
In an article published by Barbados Today on December 17, 2021, Chairman of the Leeward Islands Airline Pilots Association, Patterson Thompson, called on former major Liat shareholder governments led by Prime Minister Mia Mottley of Barbados and Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, to come to their aid. The article quoted Thompson as saying, while he was not interested in picking winners or losers, all the former Liat workers simply wanted was a solution to their plight, and that he would appreciate if Prime Minister Mottley and Gonsalves could at least signal to them a willingness to talk to them about the possibility of assisting them in the future. Following the collapse of the regional carrier, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Antigua and Barbuda and Dominica agreed to write off debts owed to them by Liat. In early June last year, close to 100 former Barbadian Liat workers started receiving a promised $2,000 per month that would be repaid from any future severance payment, which was valid for up to 1 year. In other news, the U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention has added 12 more destinations, including St. Vincent and the Grenadines, to its level 4 list of places that Americans should avoid due to very high levels of COVID-19. The CDC says people who must travel to SVG should make sure they are up to date with their coronavirus vaccinations, and that even if they are up to date, state with their COVID-19 vaccines, they may still be at risk for getting and spreading COVID-19. Other countries and territories that move to the CDC's highest level on Monday are Brazil, Chile, Ecuador, Paraguay, French Guiana, Anguilla, Kosovo, Moldova, Singapore, and the Philippines. The level 4 list includes more than 130 destinations. The CDC places a destination at 11.4 with more than 500 cases per 1,000 residents are registered in the past 28 days. Nearly every addition to level 4 was listed at level 3 last week or high risk for COVID-19. The only exception is French Guiana, which was listed as unknown last week because of a lack of information. In early January, there were around 80 destinations demonstrating the rapid rise of the Omicron variant around the world. Level 4 now has more destinations than all the other CDC categories combined. And 49 families of Rose Place will soon occupy their new homes at the Lomans Bay Housing Settlement. A ribbon-cutting ceremony was held yesterday to mark the substantial completion of the project, which forms part of the multi-million-dollar port modernization project in capital Kingstown. The government of SVG constructed the homes to the tune of EC $4.8 million with basic amenities. Larissa Pugsley-Kidd tells us more in this report.
As part of the port modernization project, the 28 structures were constructed for the project-affected persons from Rose Place, better known as Bottom Town. 10 of the 49 families who will be occupying the new homes were present at Monday's ceremony. In delivering the feature address, Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves said they chose to build homes and not apartments, as was suggested by some critics.
People prefer their own little space, like how we have it here. You could have a duplex, which means you have a common wall, but you have your own entrance. You have your own key for your door going in. And you have to say that the Housing and Land Development Corporation and the tradesmen did a fantastic job up here and with the 3-bedroom houses down in the valley.
The houses, which were built to the tune of $4.8 million, was funded solely by the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
No money from the British government is in this part. But yet, they wanted to be here, and we wanted them to be here because we are partners in this project, which is the second largest project, capital project, in the history of this country.
The 28 structures are made up of 1, 2, and 3-bedroom units. The Caribbean Development Bank is constructing the new port at Rose Place, and at Monday's ceremony, Vice President of Operations at CDB, Isaac Solomon, said that residents of the new Lomans Bay Housing Settlements stand to benefit from the port project and other support.
Homeowners, we are thrilled that brand new homes and a safe and healthy community are being provided for you. Even as that is done, the project will establish a subcommittee to respond to your needs as you settle into your new residences as part of the ongoing support to ensure you are comfortable in your new surroundings. We look forward to you reestablishing your strong sense of community in Lomans, similar to that which existed in Rose Place.
The British government is also pitching in with $35 million towards the port project. Resident British High Commissioner to SVG, His Excellency Steve Moore, said his government will continue to support SVG in undertakings.
And so we are proud to support this port project, which will help St. Vincent and the Grenadines better withstand climate and economic shocks and transform the lives of its people.
The new Lomans housing project started 2 years ago and, according to officials, completed in time despite COVID-19 and the volcanic eruptions. For SVG-TV News, Larissa Pugsley-Kidd.
And Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves said that there has been a boom in housing projects in St. Vincent and Grenadines under his administration, and that he was once cautioned to discontinue distribution of building materials, but he will not do so.
We have built over 2,000 low-income houses. Then we have built hundreds of lives to live. We have repaired hundreds of homes. We have given out millions of dollars of building material. You remember that? I remember one year we giving out building material. We give out building materials on an ongoing basis. And the Christian Council write me, it was an election year, to tell me that we must stop give out building materials because it's an election year. I write them back and ask them what they're talking about. I had to make reference to the book of Matthew.
The new homeowners at the Lomans Bay Housing Settlement are excited to move into their living quarters. The keys to their new homes have not yet been handed over, as homeowners first have to pay for their utility services. And at yesterday's ceremony, only 10 of them could have been in attendance due to the COVID-19 protocols. Our news team spoke with some of the homeowners who said that they are grateful to have a home built for them at no cost to them and are looking forward to relocating.
We didn't spend no money to get the building. The government achieved the building for we, and I have to give thanks that I got a building for me and my family. My family is a family of 7.
I say like everything, because like grassy, like moving from one place to one location to the other. So like that. The one bedroom, there is the one. Well, if we have to move it next week, because I get paid next week, I'm going to pay for them in next week, and if I move it next week.
I really don't know if it's I relax in well. Chill about the water well. Just chill well. And most is the solution thing, eh? Yeah, according. When I don't get the house going, I can now come back.
Depending on the size of the family, the homeowners will occupy a 1, 2, or a 3-bedroom unit of the 28 structures at the housing settlement. The woman who cut the ribbon at yesterday's ceremony, Naomi Patterson, said that the thought of owning a new home in such a nice environment was far-fetched. However, her dream has been realized.
Naomi Patterson. I'm living in Rose Place for 18 years now, and I'm happy to get one of this house in Lomans Bay. I'm happy. I'm thanking the Prime Minister for what he has done for us, because where we live in Rose Place, here is 100% better than where we live in. Because at that location in Rose Place, it have a big gutter behind us, and when the rain comes, it's smelly. So we have we have a better view here, as much as the people have been saying that it ain't going anywhere, it's not. And I am happy. Very, very much happy, only because of the young people, white tears ain't coming down my eyes. 8 family members in my house, so I get in a 3-bedroom.
Opposition MP for the constituency, Daniel Cummins, on radio today said the housing scheme or settlement at Lomans Bay is of a good quality, and though it is a small part of the development of the port modernization project, it is significant for the families who will be occupying the new houses, as they have been living in squalor conditions on the beachfront in Rose Place.
Said before that the housing scheme built at Lomans is of a good quality. There is no doubt about that. The infrastructure is fine. The roads are put in properly, concrete roads, electricity, telephone, facility, water, all in place, so that people, the residents who are going to be there, have the basic infrastructure, and the houses are of a pretty decent standard. Most importantly, the people who live on the beach now for all this time have no proper toilet facilities other than a communal facility. They all have to use a common bathroom, washroom, and a common washing facility there in Rose Place. And that over the years has created quite a bit of social issues. Each house now boasts of a proper bathroom with septic tank so that the treatment is there. The soils are good to allow for a septic tank. So when it comes to waste and wastewater, this is a tremendous improvement on what exists in Rose Place.
Cummins said while the living arrangement of the 2-bedroom duplexes may create some challenge, it is his hope that the occupants can learn to live in unity in the housing settlement.
Already I'm hearing some lamentation from some people that they're being placed in a building with their neighbor on the other side who they don't see eye to eye with. One only hopes that these seemingly small matters can be sorted out, because I've urged these residents to try to live in harmony and to keep the environment clean and lift their standard. They're being placed in an environment which is superior to where they have been for many years. And one hopes that given this new dispensation, they themselves will lift their game and live as better citizens and cooperate with one another.
The opposition MP said he is also happy that the government has decided to help with the physical relocation of the residents by assisting them with moving their belongings from Rose Place to Lomans Bay.
This is providing them with some transport mechanism to move their personal belongings to Lomans and to take from the structures what is salvageable. I don't know how much that is possible, because they're not permitted to do any construction on the new premises they're moving to. But it's good that they'll be able to salvage whatever windows or doors of whatever quality they have in the structures. Maybe they can sell them and make some money. But it's good that they're allowed to salvage whatever they can from the structures, which will be demolished from the beachfront to clean it up. But the bottom line is, I am on record as saying, and I totally commit to that statement, that I am very, very pleased with the quality of houses that have been erected for the people who they are moving from Rose Place to Lomans Bay.
Less than a month after Minister of Tourism and Culture Carlos James said that they are exploring the possibility of SVG becoming the first country in the Caribbean to host Carnival in the metaverse, the Carnival Development Corporation at a news conference today outlined plans for the continuation of the traditional form of Vincy Mass this year. Chief Executive Officer of the Carnival Development Corporation, the CDC, Ashford Wood, noted that due to the cancellation of Vincy Mass for the past 2 years as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, artists, artisans, and others who make a living from the festival were greatly affected financially and psychologically. Vincy Mass has been the medium through which Vincentian artists and artisans express their skills, and over the years the festival has generated millions of dollars for the country's economy. And Wood said, taking all these factors into consideration, the CDC has developed a plan for the safe hosting of Vincy Mass this year.
Let me say that our efforts to get Vincy Mass 2022 on the way were well supported and continue to be supported by our present minister as well as his permanent secretary. They have been with us all the way, and for this, Mr. Minister, I say a hearty thank you.
Chairman of the CDC, Ricardo Ricky Adams, said that a team met with the cabinet last Thursday to discuss the possibility of having Carnival this year, and it was agreed to under certain circumstances, which include the island achieving a 70% vaccination rate.
A full Vincy Mass can happen if the nation achieves a 70% vaccination rate by the end of March 2022. The CDC has undertaken to work with stakeholders to do an active drive to see whether we can achieve this goal. If this goal is not achieved, Vincy Mass will be a fully vaccinated series of events, just as the CDC had proposed. The feeling is that there's need for a larger, more inclusive scale of Vincy Mass for it to be truly successful. But that will depend on the rate of vaccination and the state of the COVID pandemic at that time. All plans for Vincy Mass are obviously subject to change, and at all times we will be guided by the updated protocols as issued by the CMO and the security authorities. Should there be a reversal of fortunes and the event has to be cancelled, the CDC has been required to make a proposal for a rational compensation package to financially dislocated practitioners of the art form to be approved by the cabinet.
Adams said that the government and the CDC are hoping Vincy Mass, the hottest carnival in the Caribbean, will be held this year in the interest of all stakeholders from Friday, June 28th to July 5th, 2022.
And we begin on Friday, June 24th with a launch party for Vincy Mass, and that party will be a party that encompasses the energy and embraces the energy of Vincy Mass, featuring all the heavy hitters of our culture. And that, we think, would be a fitting way to kick off the re-energized Vincy Mass 2022. On Saturday, we'll have a junior carnival, which is intended to be a fun day for the children. And one of the things that we've recognized is, as the protocols stand now, they do not allow for any level of street parade, and so therefore what we will do is bring the children into an enclosed outdoor environment where they can express themselves, enjoy themselves, and have almost like a fun day.
The CDC chairman also outlined changes to some of the traditional events, such as Juve, Monday T-shirt bands parade, and Carnival Tuesday Mass.
On Monday, July 4th, we're looking at having the traditional Juve, probably on the steps of the grammar school or somewhere in that area, because unfortunately, realistically, we know that does not normally attract a very large crowd. So we think that we can get away with that in a small area where there's a display stage. And what we're looking at is the modern bands, which tend to be the paint bands, etc. We're looking at them having a bubble party where they can do their paint, and a lot of them have been doing this for years. There was a pre-Juve gathering, so they'd have a party in a venue, and then they'd hit the streets. What we're basically doing is removing the hitting the streets, but you can still go into enclosed venues and have your events. We're looking at the same for the Monday T-shirt band, so you can have a T-shirt band party in an enclosed venue, exercising your protocols and controls. And then on Tuesday, the proposal is for the costume bands to be able to go to the tarmac of the old E.T. Joshua and use the northern end of the runway and be able to do a level of parading in front of the judges, and then the bands can return to their bubbles and have their parties.
Also addressing today's news conference was Minister of Tourism and Culture, Carlos James, who said if the 70% vaccination rate is not achieved by the time for Vincy Mass 2022, safe zones will be established where the activities can be held in a scaled-down but safe manner. And Carnival in the Metaverse is not to replace the traditional and existing Vincy Mass product, but to have an additional platform where the creatives can earn extra income by exporting their talent globally. This was reiterated by Minister James at today's news conference, noting that when he first spoke about Carnival in the Metaverse in Parliament, many persons misunderstood him. Minister James said with conversations questions surrounding emerging technology and promoting Vinci Mass using online platforms, local artist Calvert Jones will be appointed as an advisor who will advise the Ministry of Culture and the CDC on an approach to take SVG's culture globally using technology through the metaverse.
In the Pacific, in Eastern Europe, and other places around the world. A place, for instance, like Japan has a population of 125 or so million people. Some of them perhaps never heard of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. They know there's a place somewhere in the Caribbean, and also might not have heard of Vinci Mass. But we will be using all of the available tools at our disposal and emerging technology to export our creatives and to expose them to a wider target audience for them to earn additional income to support what they would make locally as it relates to Vinci Mass. So just to clear the air on that, it's not to replace Vinci Mass, it is in fact happening, but to provide additional mediums for our creatives to earn income and to export our creatives to a wider target audience and to export our country's natural resources.
The Tourism and Culture Minister said ever since he has spoken about the possibility of using the metaverse for Vinci Mass, his ministry has been getting phone calls from international organizations showing interest in a partnership.
We have had phone calls from persons in international organizations such as the Organization of American States, Meta, which is in fact owned by Facebook. I would mention a telecommunications company headquartered regionally, persons in the diaspora in Canada, in North America, in Europe, even here locally within the Caribbean, who are pretty much saying that St. Vincent is on the edge, leading the way in this exercise, and that very likely they would want to see this develop and they would want to be a part of this, not just for St. Vincent and the Grenadines alone, but the entire Caribbean. Recently, we have had an announcement by a member of parliament in Jamaica, also exploring the possibility of the Jamaican creatives being branded and exported within that space and that platform.
Urging persons to be more open-minded about the metaverse concept, Minister James said it has serious revenue potential for the country.
Developing a comprehensive working plan to put all of the available modalities in place. Talking about the National Cultural Foundation, the CDC, all of the relevant creative industries and practitioners and so on. So come together under the umbrella to see how we can really fully develop our creative industry and our sector to facilitate again our creatives. We can no longer look at earning an income as a seasonal thing for creatives. I want to see artisans earning serious income, and they also have to pay taxes. Income that they can also be taxed on, but income which they can comfortably go to the bank and say, I am a creative, I want a loan, this is my income, and I want to expand my business. And we have to put in place the platform and the resources. We have to make it available for our creatives.
In other news, the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Teachers Union is inviting interested members to submit the relevant completed nomination documents for the union's upcoming general elections by close of business on Friday, February 4th, 2022. The executive positions that will be contested on Tuesday, February 22nd and Wednesday, February 23rd, 2022 are President, First Vice President, Second Vice President, General Secretary, Assistant General Secretary, Treasurer, Public Relations Officer, committee members. The SVG-TU said persons elected at these elections will serve on the union's executive for the 2022-2024 biennium and will be installed at the union's 22nd biannual convention, which will be held in April 2022.